Hey there. I just wanted to let you know that there is a video component to this podcast, and if you're seeing these animations, then yeah, you already figured that out, so good for you. But if you're not, I really would recommend that you check out the video as well as listening to it because you're really going to be missing out on some beauty and artistry if you don't. This is worth a watch, and I really encourage you to do so. The link will be in the description. Thank you. Bye.
The following podcast is a presentation of Project Entertainment Network.
Don't be scared now, but it looks like you just wandered straight into U-Mind country. That's U-Mind, short for unaffiliated mind games, and you ain't never gonna be the same again. Brace yourself. It's time for a red-hot truth injection. Oh, yeah. That's right, bitch. We're rounding up the sheeple and shaking them awake. You mind? Too damn bad. We're gonna set fire to the wool over your eyes. Feel the burn, baby. Hot damn. We're toppling the lies of the lamestream media one by one. Woo-wee. Watch them bad boys fall. Hey, Universe A. This is Universe B calling, and we're gonna tear you a new one. You mind?
So, hey everybody, it is me, Napoleon Doom, and I am here with some of the San Diego chapter of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Hi everyone.
Hello.
So, if you could just introduce yourselves, and starting with you there, Isaac.
Oh, okay. Very good. My name is Guard Isaac Wiener. I'm a guard with the San Diego Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Um, Basically, I am a fully fledged member of the house. Although I do not use the title of nun. I do not use the title of sister. I have other duties, but they are extraordinarily important. And basically, yeah, I'm there to serve the sisters. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more after after the sisters have a chance to speak. Yeah,
Sure.
that's a
Right. And then Sister Rita.
All right. Hello. I am Sister Rita Booke of the San Diego Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, also known as Asylum of the Tortured Heart.
Very nice. And Sister Develyn.
I am Sister Develyn Angels. I am a fully professed member of the San Diego Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and I am the Sister of Spoons.
Oh, very nice. All right. So tell us a little bit about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and kind of what you do for the community, any charitable works and things like that.
Oh, goodness, where do we even begin?
All right.
So I know the chapter turned 41 this year, and it started in San Francisco, correct?
Correct.
On Easter Sunday. So, and
Legend goes, but yes.
Technically, we turned 41 on Holy Saturday, but
ah,
we celebrate on Easter as, kind of the big marking point. But the founders actually went out into the Castro on Holy Saturday and
wow.
ran them.
Very nice.
But they did it again on Sunday with that purpose, like, oh, this could be really powerful and really meaningful for people. So they did it on a lark on the Saturday. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this. And then on Sunday, that's when it actually became a thing. So, our own house started in 2005. The order in August of 2005. So we haven't been. Our house hasn't been around for 41 years, but we have quite a history too.
Very nice.
Yeah, the legend goes that Holy Saturday, they were just doing it for shits and giggles, basically, and they had a strange, interesting, fun reaction from the community, and so they did it again Sunday. And then they kind of just never stopped doing it. And it became an order.
Very nice. Now, Isaac, you are a guard. The legend of the original sisterhood was that a machine gun was carried to protect the sisters while they were spreading their good word. You don't carry a machine gun, or
I do not carry machine guns unless you're talking about these. No, which are not all that impressive.
I was impressed.
Well, thank you. We have other weapons in our arsenal. We charm, we beguile, and we protect sisters primarily by making sure that people know that we're there. And if we see that there's an issue, we tend to distract rather than do anything more provocative than that. The idea is is that the nun is able to do their job, be a part of the community, but not have to deal with belligerence. Also, if one of the things that we normally have is, I don't have it with me, but we have a guard bag that we carry with us, and it has all sorts of makeup and other things that nuns may need in case in case something happens. Like in bars, many times, particularly now, well, not now, but particularly when we were going to bars, there were not these straws available. And so nuns can't drink just out of the glass. So one of my jobs
it's just not pretty.
Straws. Well, it does mess up the makeup, and that's all part of it. So that's our main job. Usually we I wouldn't say we necessarily defer to nuns, but we are. That's one of the reasons why it was a little bit weird about going first. It's like, because normally we support the nuns rather than be front and center ourselves.
Very interesting.
We call them our cat wranglers, because sisters, bless our guards, because I think they have a harder job than we do, is having to keep track of a pack of, sisters, because we kind of float here, there, and yonder, and ooh, shiny, and ooh, what's this? And especially if we're doing like a bar ministry.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah, and we're trying, especially if we're like making rounds, and they're like, okay, come on, sister, and then you find one sister, another one leaves. You find one sister, and bless our guards, they have the patience of I don't know, but they have more patience than. I'm a mom, and they have more patience than I do.
Goodness. Oh. Now, you sisters, Sister Develyn and Sister Rita, how did you find your calling? How did you know that this was what you were meant to do?
Drag has been a part of my life for a long time, and for a while it was a way of quote unquote making money. I never really made money at it, but that became not fun anymore. And I had been kind of orbiting the sisters for years, getting to know sisters a little bit better, and it just dawned on me that I love doing drag. I don't love working in drag per se, and I am also a spiritual person, and the mission of the sisters wanting to spread joy just spoke to me, and I realized I could use drag for something that would be beneficial for both me and the community. That's how I first found my calling anyways.
Very nice. And Sister Develyn, how about you?
I had a near-death experience. But to kind of preface that, I had met my best friend in cosmetology school, who I later found out was a guard with the sisters. And I didn't know who the nuns were, but I kind of get on these little, like, when I start reading about people and watching videos and doing research, it was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this. And then in February of 2013, I got incredibly ill with Crohn's disease. And that was a whole thing. And I decided that when I got better, I was going to join the order, because there's a mission out there. It's, everybody everybody can have an invisible illness. It's not a gay thing. It's not a straight thing. It's not a purple thing. It's not a black thing. It's not a green thing. It's a human condition. And so that was kind of became my calling.
Very nice. Now, spreading joy. Let's give us an idea of what that entails. How does the sisterhood spread joy to the community?
Oh boy, so many ways. A big part of it is in our part of our junior membership process is finding joy for yourself and making your own joy and finding the ways that you can make your own joy. Because if you can do that for yourself, you can do that for others. You have to be able to do it for yourself first, though, to really be able to spread joy authentically and confidently. So it's really personal for each sister's ministry how they spread joy. And I think for me, it's often just listening to people. That's probably the biggest thing that I do as a sister, especially it's interesting right now with this whole pandemic. I think people are actually listening to each other a lot more. Mm-hmm. But pre-pandemic, when we're all out in the world and busy with jobs and, having priorities and things to do, people don't have a lot of opportunity to speak and have someone really listen to them without judgment. And that can relieve, it can do a lot of things for people. It can relieve whatever stress. It can open up the pathway for them to feel joy again, I think is a big part of listening as a sister. And then I also love to do silly things like dancing in front of the scary fundamentalist protesters and singing, "How much is that doggy in the window?" Or, being a visual or audio alternative to not so fun messages.
Yeah.
She also likes to blow bubbles.
Yeah, blowing bubbles, giving out stickers.
I'm a hugger. And that's probably one thing I'm really struggling with this whole pandemic is some of my own personal joy and giving joy is we would just cross the street going somewhere and you will have literally someone meet you in the intersection and give you a hug. Like, "Oh my gosh, sister." And it's like, yes, I want to hug you. I want to spread joy, but I also don't want to get ran over by a car.
Right.
So
that wouldn't be joyful.
No, but it's the act of being a sister, the act of manifesting is really what spreads joy. Most people know that you see a sister, it's happy. We're there for a reason. We're there for the anonymity and
It's okay. We get it.
For that. Yeah. Very nice.
So when they see us, that in itself is an act of spreading joy. I mean, we could just be sitting in a bar after an event, eating dinner, and people are like, "Oh my God," and they just get so excited. Mm-hmm. And, you'll hear them across the street yelling, "Sister!" And you wave, and they're made for the night. But then to touch on Rita's, to just be able to sit down, hold someone's hand, give them a hug, listen to them. And sometimes it's the most horrible day of their lives to, they got a new puppy or they got a new cat, but they don't have anybody to share it with. Mm-hmm. So you get to share in the triumphs and, the not so good stuff. So.
Yeah, it's not always so earth shattering, or at least for us, it doesn't seem so earth shattering. But we really have no idea what that means to the person or what that interaction. We're just there and we mirror back to them, and then they go on with their days and we go on with our days. And
sometimes they just want to talk to somebody because they tried a new restaurant or they got a raise, or whatever it is. It's a blessing for us to be able to be there for those who may not have a sounding board, or they have to tell somebody right then and there because it's such good news, and if they don't tell somebody, they're going to explode. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What I see whenever I go out with the sisters, and it's true for myself, you don't go out into the public looking like this and not get attention.
Right.
And the great thing I love about what goes on with the sisters, every sister I know, is that they take that and they use it to promote joy and happiness in all sorts of fashions. And and just by being present there. And we also do a lot of work. We help out with a lot of fundraisers, and we go to a lot of events. And sometimes, just the process of being there. And sometimes we will help with selling raffle tickets, or we'll help introduce people, or things like that. And us being out there, being open and being crazy, because looking like this promotes being a little bit out there. It lets people know that it's okay for them to be themselves. Because if we have enough guts to go out there looking like this and doing what we do, by gosh, you can be yourself. You can go out there. There is nothing out there that's so terrible about you. That doesn't mean that you can't go out there and live your life as you choose. And that's what I really think is super great about what it is the sisters do and how we promote joy in the community.
I would say that was actually my experience with the sisters was at the Oceanside Art Museum, and
that's a fun event.
Yeah, and it's always a little nerve-wracking for me to be out in public. I'm an artist, but a lot of being an artist is like being secluded and working on your own stuff. So when I have to go out and be among the people, it's always like very frightening for me. And it was Sister Idano and Shannon Rose when she was still a novice, who I was actually talking to, and they were just really warm and really friendly. And a lot of the night had been just kind of being harassed because I had built this whole costume with like this big 60s bubble helmet and like this dress. And
I remember
yes,
you.
that's me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sadly, for some reason, I have yet to go to the OMA event.
Oh, yeah.
Something always comes up and it bums me out.
Oh.
Hopefully this year it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was
We all may be wearing giant bubble helmets.
Oh, very cool.
Right.
To attend.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were prognosticating how we would all be living in 2020.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, my experience with the sisters was it was very calming for me to have someone who was there just willing to have a conversation with me and who wasn't like making a comment about dat ass or anything like that. So that was always nice.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, and so I was really excited to get to know you guys, and I've been looking at your website, and I just love what the sisterhood is all about. And just now the sisterhood is involved with charities. You also give grants to certain organizations and startups. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was going to say, Isaac, we're going to turn that to you because you are our former master of alms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be happy to discuss that.
Sure.
One of the things that's important to realize is that we are a nonprofit organization, and frankly, other than the stuff that we need to pay for in terms of like being a sound organization, having insurance and stuff like that, and a couple of other things, there's not a lot of money that is needed by the organization itself to keep it running. So when we let people know that there are a lot of organizations that we promote, and when people donate to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, we give away quite a bit of money. Last year, I believe we gave away I think it was $8,000. We also, here's the thing, we don't promote generally fundraising. It's not the sort of thing that we tend to do a lot of. We'll go out there and we'll have things where we're Valentine's or Easter eggs and things like that. As much to get out in the community and show ourselves as it is to make money.
Okay.
For organizations. So last year we give to all sorts of organizations. We decide amongst ourselves and we do some research as to who needs some money, and we tend to do locally. We tend to do small organizations that not everybody knows about. And then we do some that are really pretty well known but need money. Like one of our bigger ones is Special Delivery. Special Delivery is a pantry for people who need food, and they also do Meals on Wheels for people, essentially without using that title, because that's they provide meals for housebound people with HIV and cancer and things like that. That's one of the things that we do. There are a number of art projects that we promote. One of the things we do annually is Sister Develyn's Heart and Joy, and that is it's a summer camp for children with ostomies. Now think about how something like that is really into what the sisters do. The sisters are into spreading joy and into making people feel good about themselves. Can you imagine what it'd be like to go through school as a kid with an ostomy?
Right.
I can only imagine. So what Youth Rally is, I'm just going to promote it, because you can interrupt me, or you want to say it for yourself, that's fine. But I just think it's the most amazing thing in the world. They have this camp where all these kids with ostomies are there, and they can just feel completely comfortable to be themselves, not have to explain stuff, not have to apologize, not have to be thought of as the weird kid with the bag or any of that, whatever that sort of thing is. We look for similar organizations like that to promote and give money to every year. And I know that there are a lot more that I could share, but I don't want to monopolize the time. It's a thing that we do, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of with the sisters.
Very good. Yeah. So I that sounds really exciting. So now, Sister Develyn, that is your project, that camp?
Yes. Well, when you're going through our matriculation as a sister, when you hit novice or white veil, we ask them to have a project. It's not a pass or a fail. It just teaches the novice how to set up an event, advertise, really kind of push them out of their box. My particular camp, and that goes kind of back to my near-death story I was telling about, is, so I'll preface it, is I was diagnosed in 2008 with Crohn's disease, and by 2013 it about killed me. I had my entire colon removed. I do have an ileostomy, so I understand what it's like. And actually one of our saints of the house, Saint Shutterbug, also has an ostomy, and she turned me to this camp, and she said, listen, I work with this kids camp that helps kids with bladder and digestive issues. And I looked it up, and I'm like, yes, that's where I want my money to go. That's where I want to help these kids. It's 9 to 17 for youth. They send kids to camp with bladder and digestive issues. They've been around over 30 years. The counselors, nurses, staff, everybody actually has the same condition as the kids. Many of them are former campers themselves.
Oh, wow.
They started out with 3 conditions that they helped or dealt with in the beginning, and now they're up to 58. And it's an amazing organization. It's held annually. I think this year they're going to have to unfortunately do a virtual camp. But it would have been held this year at SDSU.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So we raise funds to help pay for tuition. And yeah, it's just something near and dear to my stomach. I grew up with a child with a disability. I was the only kid in my as far as I knew, in my hometown that had the same condition I did. So I can really relate with being the weird kid.
Yeah.
So with the disease. So, it's really good. But we have an annual event called the Purple Party. It's the Shits, SHITZ. And we send it all to youth rallies. So.
Very nice. Sister Rita, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sister Rita, I'm going to guess that you have a lot to do with literacy since you are a Sister Rita Booke.
Yeah, I forgot in my intro, I'm the protector of the illiterate. Yeah.
And sometimes that's her own sisters. Case in point, me texting her about this interview going, what the heck do I do?
Yeah, I mean, my ministry, so like for my novice project, it was an event of sorts. It was not a fundraising event. It was more of like a piece of street theater that happened the week before Pride, and I wrote a rosary for that event. There's a tradition in the Sisters of writing rosaries in times of peril. After the 3 Mile Island disaster, the Sisters in San Francisco wrote a rosary in the time of nuclear peril. Often with big events or some, humanitarian disaster of some kind, sisters often write rosaries to help people through those times. And so anyways, I wrote a rosary in the time of hashtag resist. And it was, so talking about literacy, it was a very heavily researched rosary. It covers a lot of history, different parts of history of oppression and overcoming oppression for women, for people of color, for LGBTQ people. It has a couple different segments. So that, I guess you could say literacy is a big part of my sister ministry. It's an even bigger part of my secular life.
I was going to say, you have to tell her because congratulations, Sister Rita.
Yeah, I just completed my master in library and information science.
Oh, it's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's a bigger part of my secular life. And it's kind of becoming, actually in quarantine, it's kind of come back to my sister ministry. I recently wrote a blog article for our house website about, book resources online that are free right now for people at home if you have an internet connection.
And actually, she reminded me, she actually asked all of us in our house, what books would we recommend reading? And I was like, oh my God, I have this series. And it actually made me go back, get my books, starting to reread the series again. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
And I guess we can kind of tease originally I was going to include all the other sisters and guards and even junior members and some of our saints and angels, their book recommendations. It ended up expanding way beyond the scope of the blog article. So it's going to become its own page on the website. We're going to have a running book recommendation page that we can just constantly update and keep,
It's nice when that happens, when there's more information.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's pretty clear that we support, although our heart and soul tends to be within the LGBTQ community, what the work that the sisters do spreads far, far, far beyond that to basically all people who feel disenfranchised, who feel less than for whatever reason that the society may tell them that they are not as good as me. Right. And all of the things that we do help to promote and support people being themselves without shame and without guilt. And these are two really good examples of that.
Very nice.
And I think I think it's really important and our responsibility to seek out those communities and proactively do what we can to help those communities, because although anyone can be a sister, the organization is largely a white male organization. Anyone can become a sister, but we do tend to have gay men as sisters or guards, or so I think we're doing a lot of work right now to expand even beyond that.
Yeah.
Within
That differs from house to house a bit, but
Yes.
I do believe that is a relatively general statement, and it was founded by a bunch of white gay men. So I think that's probably where some
Very
of that comes
bored,
from.
probably very stoned. I mean, it was the 70s, let's face it.
Yeah. So what is the what are the traits that you're looking for in a potential sister, in case we have any people out there who are thinking that might be their calling?
That's a very interesting question. That's another thing that kind of varies from house to house, actually. In San Diego, we're a pretty we have an interesting founding and an interesting history as a house. There are some houses that actively go out and seek new members. They'll have like teas and events to kind of like recruit people, and it's usually places where that's necessary, somewhere like in the deep south, where like they maybe have a gay bar, if they have any gay bars. You have to be a little more proactive. In San Diego, we tend to not recruit. people need to come to the
We kind of have our own shining light, and the people who, well, let's do case in point. We recently have a aspirant. Her name is Aspirant Stephanie, and we actually met her at a bar called Till 2. It is just a good old-fashioned punk, goth, kind of everyone's welcome bar. And we weren't there. It wasn't necessarily an LGBTQ event, but it did help benefit us. But it was actually for Brewery Week. And the different breweries picked one of their guys, and bless their little hearts. And they decided they were going to do a drag show. And so they invited us, and Stephanie was the DJ, and she was like, oh my God, you guys are great. Again, had the same conversation we've probably had with you. And she's like, this is something I'm really interested in. And we told her, okay, well, come to the meeting, come meet with us, come to our events, hang out with us. And yeah, so we're kind of our own little light, and little moths, happy little moths come to us, but we don't burn them. We don't do that. We're
Very nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We tend to look for people who are proactively pursuing a calling with the sisters, especially because what we do is really fun and beautiful, and we get to wear pretty things, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that people come to meetings and see like the actual business of what we do, the not so fun stuff. It's almost all fun, but we do have to, it's an organization. Everyone has to do things to keep it running. And so
we have a board of directors, we have a monthly meeting, we have to discuss the budget, we have to discuss, our insurance went up. Okay, do we make the motion to make sure that's, it's really, it's not the fun stuff.
Right.
I mean, we always try to make everything fun, but a meeting is a meeting, and it's,
you got to have the infrastructure, and yeah.
You can only make it fun so much.
Right.
And one thing I also want to mention is that there are a lot of times that people will see us like, oh, they're fun. They have so much fun. They get to expounding on what you were saying about dressing up pretty. This is a calling. We have a very, I call it strict, that you can't just, oh, I'm a sister. It doesn't work that way. We have a multi-year program, essentially, for you to go through various stages to become a sister. Because sometimes people will say, oh, this just looks like fun, and I get to be the center of attention, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the sort of thing that becomes a good sister. You do need to be able to, when you are the center of attention, know how to harness that appropriately in ways that benefit the community and the sister's calling. But Sister Develyn mentioned aspirant. That's the first stage of somebody who wants to become a sister. And I don't know if this is part of what you were looking for anyway, but the stages are aspirant, where you just kind of hang around the sisters for a few months and get an idea of what they are, and come to the meetings and come to events and talk to the sisters. And that also gives the sisters a chance to get to know you. If it's something you decide that you want to pursue, then you basically write a letter to become a postulant. Now, a postulant is an official junior member of the sisters. They have their own special meetings that they go to where they learn some things, and that process can take, usually it's about a year, 6 months to a year, maybe longer, because there are certain things that the order is looking for in order to make sure that you're a good fit. And this is a really good way to be able to make sure that everybody learns what they're expected to do. And then from that point, you become a novice. If you choose to do this, you become a novice sister, where you're essentially like you're an apprentice sister.
Okay.
You are doing sister work, and you have a number of months where you do that. It's one thing to be there and be learning and such and absorbing information. It's another thing to actually do it. And some people, they become novices like, oh my gosh, this is hard. This is hard. And that's when they also do, as you had heard about, this novice project, which can be all sorts of different things, from a fundraiser to an event to just
our archives. Sister Raven Lunatic, that was her novice project, was she reorganized the archives.
Mm-hmm. For example, we had somebody who recently did a whole series of videos that basically were based on color, and it was a pretty amazing thing. Got sisters involved. It got mounted on YouTube. It was promoted, and a lot of people really enjoyed that. And it was a really great way of promoting joy, and with all sorts of different creative things that we look for. And after only all that, and if you still want to be a sister, and if the house still thinks that you've made good fit, then you can become full-fledged members. So it is not an easy process. It's not something you do on a lark.
It's not.
And the guards, and the guards have to go through the exact same process too, because we have to know what the sisters do. We have to know how the sisters work, and frankly, we do our own ministries as well.
I was going to say, Isaac, you guys. San Diego's we're very unique. Everybody is equal among the fully professed members, whether you are a guard, whether you are a sister. You can hold an office, you vote, you have a right, the guards do have their own ministry. Because some people, they'll look at a sister and go, oh, hell no. But they'll go to the guy standing in the corner going, hey, I see you got the makeup on, but you're not one of them, and they're kind of weird, but cool. What are they?
Yeah. And also sometimes people will relate more to somebody who looks like me rather than as a nun. And so sometimes I have found myself doing sister work. Perfectly happy to do it. Love doing it. That's not my primary call, but we need to be able to do that when necessary. So, it's all really important. And as I said, the process is virtually identical. So, not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, And there, we do have an established process, but it's really unique to each member. Like they were saying, there's minimum amounts of time for each step where you have to at least complete, this many months before you can even consider moving on to the next step. Most people go beyond that minimum, but some people kind of sail right through the process. Other people take almost 10 years to get through the process, move to different houses, around the country and find their home eventually. So there is a established process, but it's really unique to each.
Because
Good point.
we understand, like, even our founders, and they'll even remind, the younger members, us, it was different when our founders did what they did, and it's different than what I did and then what Rita did. We also want to make sure that it is a calling. You're not just putting on pretty makeup. You're not a drag queen.
No.
You're not going to go and be bitchy to everybody and be a drag queen. There are times, and I really try to stress this to people, you may have somebody that is having, and I've heard this story from Nora, and I've kind of had a similar situation, but not as deep as Sister Notorious. You have literally people that are like, I'm taking my life tonight. This is going to be my last drink, and I'm going to take my life. And all you can do is listen and support and do your best. And I don't think a lot of people get to see that aspect of sisterhood. They just see us selling Jello shots and being silly and dancing and hugging, and really one of us may be in a corner with somebody who's like, nope, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I do need to let you know that person did not take their life that night.
Oh, I'm very glad.
I was going to say, yes.
We did support that decision.
Right.
Yeah, we do
there
our
is
best.
a point.
We always have links, and we always have information. We always try to make sure that mental illness is heard, it is supported, and even sister to sister. We have to be sisters to each other, especially in this time. I've had many conversations with my sisters, and they're like, okay, it's okay, we got you. You're right, I just had a moment. So it 90, not even 90, I want to say 75% of the time we are having a blast, and the other 25, it is down in the trenches. It isn't pretty. You're being screamed at by fundamentalists, and you take on a lot when you take on this white face.
Yeah.
And there is a point, mentioning that story where it does go beyond the scope really of what the sisters should be handling and can, are equipped to handle. None of us are psychologists or therapists. So there is a point where we have to connect people with appropriate professionals and services where they can really get the help they need, because our powers are limited, believe it or not.
That's absolutely so important, though. I mean,
but then again, we may be that person that okay, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah,
these are these resources. Please, 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 just consider using them. And our web mistress, Sister Donatella Soul, has been amazeballs at this quarantine on making sure that all the resources, mental health, family services, trans services. I mean, she has every week, every day has been, these are here, these are updated. And I know when I do my shout outs online, I'm always like, if you need anything, please, please, please go to our website. Look at those resources.
Now, you talked about the pandemic and fundamentalists. Are there any new challenges that have been emerging? Obviously, the pandemic is something no one's dealt with before, but even during this administration or just with the current mindset of people, are there new obstacles that you're having to deal with, and how are you approaching those?
I think Rita would be... Rita's Novice Project was kind of as a direct result from some I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
the way I interpret it is that a part of that was a direct result of the frustration that so many people had been feeling with the change of administration and what seems to go as what seems to pass nowadays, and
Right.
the frustration that many of us have felt.
Mhm.
And so I think that that's one of the things that the sisters deal with head on pretty well. We are a reflection of the frustrations of society, no matter what. Obviously, back in the days of AIDS, the sisters were on the forefront of kind of being in your face about it. We're good about being in your face about stuff. We a number of years ago, we gave some money to a fledgling health worker association because that is a group that is marginalized tremendously, but what the work they do is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And is necessary, and people don't recognize it. So I would say that's a big part of what we do. We also celebrate our successes as well. I mean, there was the gay community has come a very long way, and a lot because of what's going on. A lot of people feel really scared about the future. And once again, here are the sisters. They're out there being being crazy and campy and fabulous in their way, and it helps to make you feel like you can still be you.
And it's always an interesting challenge, how we respond to that scary stuff, because we're not out there screaming back at the fundamentalists.
Right.
We are all human, and I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure there's a part in all of us where we want to do that, and we want to, just turn around and say, no, fuck you, And so it's always an interesting challenge in how we respond. We have to find uniquely sistery and joyous ways to respond in those moments. And I think it's, there's always those scary, fundy elements out there.
Mhm.
They're particularly emboldened right now, obviously, from the highest office in the land is occupied by someone who,
Caters to them
and gives them a voice. And so I don't know if it's any more. It's always an interesting challenge. I don't know if it's any more difficult right now.
It's
Yeah, I
not
think
less
you're right.
difficult.
Yeah, no, right.
It's not less difficult, but I always tell people, do not engage. I mean, I the big thing, like, I'll do lives, I'll do makeup, and I'm talking to people. If you see something on Facebook and you're like, oh God, I can't, scroll up.
Yep.
There's this really neat feature on Facebook where you can just scroll up.
Mhm.
You don't have to engage. Guess what? Even people we love, and I mean, I have a couple of friends on my timeline. I'm just like, I just want to grab them and shake them, but you can't do that at 6 feet away.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
So I just scroll up. And like, okay, fine. I'm gonna go watch kitty videos
Mhm.
because I it's so easy to get sucked down. And again, it's not any less difficult given current political situation. But it it is what it is, and we're still fighting back. People still complain about the drag queens doing story hour. Well, guess what? I see sisters and drag queens on Facebook and Twitch and Instagram doing story time. Not making a scene, not getting angry. They're just doing it because why not?
Yeah.
We're still living. We're just stuck at home. We're still living. We can still do all these things. But I just want to hug somebody.
Yeah, and selecting because there is certainly room for engaging those having more challenging conversations, but it's not really the sisters' job.
Mm-hmm.
We're more out there. Our mission is to promulgate universal joy and expiate stigmatic guilt. Another way it's often worded is we disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed.
And frankly, we are disturbingly comfortable.
We're there to challenge everyone and everything, really, to consider yourself, what you're doing, how you're being, and, what am I doing in this moment to whatever, contribute to this bad energy or contribute to this good energy.
Mm-hmm.
We're mirrors.
That's an important point. We often will say that we're just a reflection of you. When people come to us and they say, "Oh, you're so beautiful," many times we will reply, "We are merely a reflection of you." And sometimes people don't get that. They think we're being flippant or whatever. Sometimes it's exactly what they needed to hear.
Yeah.
And also, I think the biggest act of rebellion isn't screaming and yelling and protesting and holding a sign. It's just being.
Mm-hmm.
Living authentically, being a presence. That's more of a rebellion, than what the other side is doing.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. And before we go, I want to ask each one of you if you have a really positive experience, a really positive memory to share in your time with the sisterhood.
Ooh, really? There's so many.
I know. I was thinking that. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'll start giving you guys a little bit of chance to get your thoughts. So, because my job is a little different, because one of the things I do, and it's part of where I get my joy, is to support like fundraisers and such. I'm pretty much a master when it comes to raffle tickets and such as that. And depending on the event or whatever, you can get into a major zone where you're just like in there, just engaging with people, having an amazingly good time, and you're giving as much joy, and you're getting it right back, and you just realize that all seems to be one with the universe, and we're all here for an amazing cause. We're all here for good.
It also doesn't hurt that he's a really sexy bear, and yes, we utilize that in the bear bars.
Oh, bless your heart. That's so sweet. But good. Yeah, well, there is some of that too. It's like in the bear bars and such. But in general, and the thing is that I get to do that often, and I get to express that. I get to experience that joy relatively often. So yeah, I'll leave it at that for me.
Very nice.
I think I wouldn't nail down one moment, but my most positive moments that are recurring always, particularly during the Pride Parade, are those fleeting moments of joy with people where there often aren't even words, especially like the really young folks that will be at the parade, and you can see they're really like, maybe a little shy or reserved, and like maybe it's their first parade or something. I love engaging with those people during the parade because it's a parade. We go, we give them a little like indulgence or a little sticker or something, and then we move along, and we have no idea how that affected them. Because I think that's really important for me, is that what we do is fun and wonderful and good, but it's not. I'm not responsible for it. I just do it. We just be. We just are. We do what we do, and then we move along. And maybe we'll see each other again. Maybe we won't. Those are the most positive moments for me. Are those brief, fleeting moments of joy? Yeah.
I think I have a couple. One of them is I was working with the North County LGBT Center, and the kids adopted me as mom. I became chosen mom, and now 2 of those individuals are actually with us in the Sisters. So I got to watch them grow up. And then probably one of my favorite memories for me, again, it was just showing up, is Dining Out for Life.
Yeah.
And Isaac texted us and was like, "Oh my God, is anybody going to Adam's Grill? Anybody? We need somebody. We're always there." I'm like, "Okay, I got it. And because usually it's Isaac, and I walk in and the whole place erupts in clapping. I didn't do anything, but
Joyful presence.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I just walked in the door. I mean, it was even more amazing once I got working, but just to have that.
Very
really cool.
nice. That's beautiful. So, well, thank you so much. And would any of you like to promote your personal social media, or just the sisters' social media? Anything that you would like to share? And obviously, you can email me the links, and I will make sure that they appear in the description box when this goes up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we've got our website, sdsisters.org. We've got a pretty active Facebook presence.
Mm-hmm.
I understand we're doing, we have a good Twitter and Instagram presence as well. Personally, I'm just on Facebook, so I don't know about those other ones very much, but I hear that they're pretty, they're
They are.
pretty good.
They are, I can tell you.
And usually you can find out where we're going to be going to sdsisters.org. Of course, we haven't been going many places lately, but I have a feeling that might be changing in the not too distant future.
Very good.
And also through the website, like Sister Develyn was saying, we have a ton. We actually, our Sister Donatella totally reworked the website now, because it used to feature what events we were going to be right there on the homepage. Now it's featuring our mission and resources available to people, unemployment, food, if you're having, food issues, all sorts of stuff. And you can connect with me on Instagram or on Twitter. I'm Sister Rita B, all one word on both of those. And if anyone wants to connect, I'm there.
Very nice.
And mine is Develyn Angels on everything. If you type it in, you'll find me. And it's DEVELYN Angels. I have a funky spelling. I have to be different.
Good work.
Very nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and for sharing your joy and your positivity. And
thank you for getting me through the whole Skype.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that this recorded, because we've had I see it in the corner. It says it's recording. So, and if it doesn't, then
sure it has.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Well, if not, I don't mind redoing this, because this was fun.
Okay.
Frustration aside, once we got the technology working, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
And then maybe
thank you very much.
We can do a follow-up at some point in person. So
I would love that.
Yeah.
That's always
be prepared
easier
for a very awkward hug. I'm just saying.
All right. You got it. Okay. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you later. I'll let you know when this posts. Okay. Bye, everyone.
So much for
Bye.
Special thanks to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the Asylum of the Tortured Heart. They're our San Diego sisters, and we love them. Go to sdsisters.org to find out more about them, or go to their Instagram at sdsisters. You know who else is there?
Develyn Angels at Develyn Angels on Instagram. While you're there, say hi to Sister Rita Booke at Sister Rita B. And while you're at it, why not go to Facebook at the SD Sisters? Guard Isaac Wiener is there at A Borovoy. He'll keep you safe. Send Sister Develyn Angels a virtual hug while you're on Facebook at Develyn Angels. Tweet the good news at the SD Sisters. And check out a book. That is Sister Rita Booke at Sister Rita B. And don't you dare forget Sister Develyn Angels at Develyn Angels on Twitter. Special thanks as always to our legendary announcer, Savage C. Walmar. We love what you do. Keep doing it. And a big juicy thanks to Ethan Mixell for the You Mind theme song, Demilitarized Zone. It's a real toe tapper. Support our silly little show at patreon.com/lucidnap or buymeacoffee.com/lucidnap. That's me, I'm Nap, and I do a website called lostbreadcomic.com where you can buy my graphic novel series, my art prints, and so much more. Or follow us like a bunch of wee baby ducklings. You can do that by going to the description box below and clicking on all those pretty shiny links available for you, not just for me, but for the sisters as well. And check out our sister audio drama, Creeping Wave Radio. It ties into the You Mind. It ties into my comic book series. It's an amazing show. We've got a lot of amazing guests, a lot of local San Diego talent, a lot of local San Diego musicians, and it is worth a listen because our new season is coming in October and you want to know what's going on. You don't want to be left out of the loop. So go ahead, take a listen. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you for watching or listening, whatever the case may be. I hope you're watching because the sisters are really beautiful and they're just a reflection of you. So why wouldn't you want to see that? And you know what? They are a reflection of the generosity of the Grammarica Show, Nikki Benfield, and Neil, who are our Patreons, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you guys. Creeping Wave is brought to you by Lucid Nap Productions in cooperation with the Hairy Old Man. We could have called it Hairy Old Man Productions, but I'm the one who does all the work, so yeah.
It's Bazong, the weird and wacky fiction podcast. With me, your host, Mr. Frank. Every Monday, we're talking to everyone who's anyone writing weird and wacky fiction. So if you enjoy reading funny and strange books, or you enjoy writing funny and strange books, join us on Bazong each week to learn along with Mr. Frank. Bazong every Monday, a part of the Project Entertainment Network. Bazong! Bazong! Bazong!
This has been a presentation of the Project Entertainment Network.